this is a new series, I guess. Let's call it Script Doctor. A script doctor is someone who comes into a writing project and tries to fix a lot of the weaknesses in the project. Most movies have several script doctors to shore up the original writer's weaknesses. One will come in to polish the jokes and make them funny. One polishes the dialogue, makes it more organic. One will act like a science advisor, turning technobabble into, at least, reasonable-sounding tech. There's a number of roles to script doctors, but it makes me wonder why a company as large as Blizzard Entertainment doesn't hire any. But in principle, the main goal of the script doctor is to make as few changes to the original as possible, while still keeping the core of the story intact. It's very much like translating a work into a different language in that regard. I think a couple of you know I did this with my anime blog in ye old days past. I spent a lot of time watching garbage anime and offering slight tweaks that I thought could make the story more compelling, or at least worth watching. Some, of course, could not be saved. And I've been sitting on this video for a long time, since before I actually tackled the whole YouTube channel thing for reals. These are ideas I've had since the Legion expansion, so let's put them down. But I'm gonna start this series with a bang. I'm gonna fix everything wrong, or most everything wrong, with Sylvanas Windrunner in one move to checkmate. A single move. A move that the game could still technically embrace. This isn't to say we couldn't edit little things, add scenes in Cataclysm better expressing Sylvanas' pressures from Garrosh, but again, I want to be as simple and straight shooting as possible. Or we could edit scenes in BFA to get with this direction, but I still think we can fix everything with one blindingly obvious fix to the story. So let's do it better. Each of the war chiefs can be seen as an embodiment of the Horde's qualities. Black Hand is the Horde's savagery. Doomhammer is its hope. Thrall anoints Vol'jin, saying he preserved their honor. But Sylvanas is different in that regard. Sylvanas, at the start, is anointed as the Horde's protector. The Alliance is portrayed like Rome in the Punic Wars. If they lose an army, they can just build another. But the Horde is more like Carthage. They have one major army, and if they lose it, they're defenseless. Sylvanas, using the Valkyr, saves the Horde from annihilation. So what are we changing about things here? We're changing Stormheim a bit, or rather, we're filling in gaps that the game has left wide open, almost like holes in the plot. I wish there was a word for that. So let's go back to the Valkyr. Sylvanas has made a deal with them. That keeps them free while they resurrect the dead to be new Forsaken. They essentially make Sylvanas an honorary Valkyr by their Pact of the Nine. She essentially slots into Anhilda's position in a similar way Thrall slides into Deathwing's position as aspect of the Earth in Cataclysm. Sylvanas is, after all, like them, a dark battle maiden between life and death. That's why they approach her in the first place, because she is suitably like them to be brought into a pact. This is because the undead work in shadow magic. Undead are all raised by using shadow magic to animate the corpses. This brings us, of course, to Stormheim. We do not technically have to change anything here, nothing at least that happened in the game, but we are giving Sylvanas a defined motivation, which we could later reveal in backstory or even at the start of Shadowlands if we wanted to. Gen says that Sylvanas is seeking immortality, but that's the only motivation ascribed to her by the game. Someone else's speculation. No, that's too simple for this character. We're seeking something else. That's why she has the soul cage. Because remember, these are light Valkyr we're dealing with. They use light magic to do their work. But why is Sylvanas so concerned with light magic? What purpose does she, an undead, need with it? Exposure to light causes discomfort and outright pain to undead like Sylvanas. Well, it's that thing we said before. Sylvanas uses the Valkyr to raise the undead, but the light in Warcraft doesn't raise the dead. It resurrects them. Spirit healers are Valkyr as well, remember. Yes, in our story, Sylvanas is in Stormheim because she wants to double-cross Helya. She is here to end the Forsaken, but not by killing them, by resurrecting them. Sylvanas tries to negotiate with Aegir. She will return the soul cage to the Valkyr, if they will raise the Forsaken back into life. This would actually gel with an event we saw between Wad and Legion, where Sylvanas and Verisa try to reconnect, and everything looks like they might mend the fence finally. But Sylvanas proposes that Verisa and her children be raised into undeath, and the concept is so shocking to Verisa that she turns away from Sylvanas for good. So this deal Sylvanas is trying to strike with Aegir, it is Sylvanas approaching her lost family from the opposite direction, trying to cure her entire people of their cursed existence. But as the conversation with Aegir moves forward, Sylvanas is ready, and she waits. And she waits. She waits for Aegir to resurrect her body, but she can't. You see, when Sylvanas made the deal with the Nine, she became bound to them. She must always be, effectively, part undead Valkyr now. If she were to be resurrected, it would not only undo the contract, but everything they've done as part of it. Nathanos' new body, the thousands of risen dead from Deathnell who would otherwise be rotting in the ground, and even her own life, as part of the deal to resurrect Sylvanas, was to put the leader of the Nine, Anhilda, in Sylvanas' place in hell. So even if Sylvanas was raised, her soul would immediately be sent to the darkness. So, Aegir concludes, she cannot raise the Forsaken and Sylvanas at the same time. But Sylvanas says that if a pact was made, it could be overwritten by a pact with the Lightborn Valkyr. Aegir says that is possible, but that is a separate deal, and Sylvanas only has one soul cage. Sylvanas insists on having both, and in desperation, she raises the lantern and lashes out with it. And this is the point where we, the player, catch up to the story. Gen Greymane smashes the lantern, denying Sylvanas either of those objectives. While Gen thinks he was committing an act of justice, we now know the truth, that it might actually be one of the most wicked acts in Warcraft lore. I think if we insert this motivation, it not only reinforces the selfish half of Sylvanas, but reinforces that coronation as Lord Protector of the Horde. It makes it, gosh, I wish there was a word for this, something morally mixed. Like, not white or black, morally... Gosh, I had something for this. Sylvanas' fatal flaw in this is her pride. She cannot envision a world without Sylvanas anymore, so she clings to it, and it costs her everything. It's her Shakespearean flaw. It also better informs everything else. Sylvanas didn't attack Teldrassil for a military objective. She did it to hurt Greymane. The previously stupid line, "You can't kill hope," that starts this whole BFA mess because Sylvanas is written as a teenage brat in this scene, suddenly becomes a bitter lashing out. Yes, Sylvanas thinks to herself, you can kill hope. Gen killed hers. Sylvanas doesn't think that anyone can have hope because she has now lost it.
You took my son's future. And now I've taken yours.
Blizzard was patting itself for not making Sylvanas the new Lich Queen in the Shadowlands trailer, but they clearly missed the point. We weren't joking that Sylvanas would be the Lich Queen because that's what we hoped for. It was the laziest thing we could think of. You don't pat yourself on the back for being one less iota lazy than the lowest common denominator. But I would bet money that my angle plays better than whatever nonsense Blizzard has lined up. I dare them to prove me wrong.